All right, so we will begin post-revolution in Virginia. So minority groups like Baptists sought for religious liberty from state-supported churches, which eventually leads to the First Amendment. You have Thomas Jefferson, who was a representative in Virginia, fighting for the religious liberty of minority groups, in this case Baptists, from the state-supported church at the time, which was the Anglican Church. And this fight within the state of Virginia kind of mirrors what's going to happen in the Constitution. And this leads to the First Amendment, which basically states that Congress shall not create a state-supported church, will not establish a state-supported church. And so as evangelical Christianity spreads across the country, as everything takes place here, other religions outside of this narrow conception of evangelical white Protestantism, outside of this, they were seen as dangerous, and they were resisted. And as a result, politicians really garnered support from this and scared their constituents from Romish and Eastern Orthodox traditions. And so as we move closer to the Civil War, religion, mainly white Southern Protestant traditions, tried to maintain order. And they argued for the preordained right to have a slave, to be a master, and this was seen as preordained by God, and as a result the Civil War was a moral war from both sides. From the Southern side, you're defending God's preordained right to own a slave and to be a master, and from the Northern perspective, you're trying to abolish this grievous sin happening below the Mason-Dixon line. So after the Civil War, you really see this influx of increased religious diversity, mainly in American cities. You have Eastern Europeans, as a result, they bring their Eastern European religion, which was mainly Eastern Orthodox, as well as Catholic tradition. So, this mainly affects American cities, but you have an increased religious, diversity happening within those cities. And as a result, if you're a politician in let's say New York, you have to understand that a lot of your constituents are not white evangelical Protestants. So that really changes the dynamic of what it means to be a politician. Who do I garner support from? Things like that. Nonetheless, Catholicism was still seen as dangerous, and although they're really slowly receiving more support legally, socially, that is just not the case yet. America is not ready for, they can't justify the difference between receiving instruction from the Vatican versus the Constitution. How does that play out? And Americans, as a result, are still scared by this. And in addition to Catholicism, you have other sects of Christianity, really seeing resistance and scaring, the common American man. Religions such as Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, and other sects like that. It disrupts that American conception of civil religion, and politicians, garnered support because of this, and that narrow conception of Christianity was still, very much in play, even within the 19th century. And this brings us into the 20th century, and this brings us to MLK's social gospel, which pretty much states that, Christianity should go out and do something. Christianity is for the equal rights of all men, and to see white ministers and pastors not do that, and white politicians not do that, is unacceptable. And that really charged MLK's, drive to pursue that social gospel and to pursue the equal rights of man. So into the 20th century, you see increased diversity in a response as because of that. As the 20th century continues, the religious landscape becomes even more diverse. Like I said, Catholicism receives more recognition and acceptance. You see that through the inauguration of JFK. And mainline Protestants become more liberal. As a result, conservative Protestants become more conservative. And this really affects, they receive recognition from Reagan, and other politicians play into that today, mainly Republicans, but Democrats also, dip their feet into that as well. So as a result, American religion has gone through periods of liberalization. The separation of church and state has never experienced a thinner divide than it does today, and religion continues to play an important role in politics. And and it continues to do, and it still will in the future. Thank you.